Welcome back to the Scran line. Today I'm going to show you how to make these absolutely gorgeous brown butter, cinnamon sugar, Halloween pumpkin cookies. These cookies are filled with milk chocolate, so incredibly easy to make, and these are a great Halloween edible gift idea. I'm going to show you how to make them right now. Let's begin with the dry ingredients. So I'm going to add a little bit of flour. Well, it's not a little bit, it's 2.5 cups of flour to a large mixing bowl. By the way, guys, ingredient measurements are up on screen, but they're also in the written recipe, and you can find that in the description box below. We're going to add a little bit of salt in there, some baking powder, and a little bit of cinnamon. The cinnamon is optional, but this time of the year is all about cinnamon and pumpkin spice and all things nice. So we're going to add that in there. It's also going to help kind of darken our cookies. So I like the flavor. I'm going to add it in there. We're going to whisk all of this together. To a separate bowl, we're going to be adding some softened or room temperature butter. I've actually softened this in the microwave because it's a little bit chilly today. So it just needed a little bit of extra softening, and it just makes whipping this up a little bit easier. To that, we're going to be adding some brown sugar and a good splash of vanilla extract. Today, I'm going to be using my hand mixer to whip this up until it's nice and pale and fluffy. But if you don't have one of these, you can just use a whisk. Or if you have a stand mixer, you can use one of those as well, fitted with a paddle attachment. When you're mixing any ingredients with a hand mixer or a stand mixer, it's really important to always scrape down your mixture, because the machines don't actually always get everything that's at the bottom or at the sides. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's like little bits of unmixed butter in this. So always scrape down. The last thing we're going to do is add an egg. We're going to continue whisking this for a couple more minutes until it's well combined. And again, always scrape down. It's easier if you actually add half of your dry ingredients to begin with. I just find that things mix a lot easier and quicker that way. I'm going to use my spatula to fold it into that butter mixture. And once you can see that this has formed a dough, you're going to add the rest of your dry ingredients and continue mixing until it's formed a nice smooth dough. Now, we're going to be popping this in the fridge for at least 1 hour. Overnight is good as well. And what that actually does is it allows the flour in this dough to soak up any of the moisture that we've added to it, and it actually ends up being easier to roll out and less crumbly. I'm going to come back and show you how to shape your cookies. Quickly popping in to make sure that you guys are enjoying this video, and if you are, hit the like button. If you want to keep up to date with all of my latest recipes, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Back to the video. I've left this dough in the fridge for 1 hour just to kind of set and rest in there. And I took it out for about, I'd say 10 minutes to let it kind of defrost a little bit, and we're ready to start rolling out. So I'm going to dust my workbench with a little bit of flour. You also want to roll your rolling pin in that flour just so that you dust that as well. Right, so let's pop our dough on top of our flour, and we're just going to kind of slowly roll this out. Now, see these little cracks that form on the end? Just squeeze them together and keep rolling. I'm just going to dust this with a little bit more flour. Right, so I rolled this out to about a 1/4 inch thickness, and it's time for us to cut out our cookies. I have a pumpkin shaped cookie cutter here. If you don't have one of these, you can use a Stanley knife to just cut out your pumpkin shapes. They're going to be different sizes and shapes, but it just makes them a little bit more rustic, which is fine. Easier with a cookie cutter though. So we're just going to cut out our little cookies. Give it a little wiggle as you cut, just to help loosen it. And you can see our little pumpkin shapes. Now, if you're cutting these and they don't come out with the cookie cutter, just use a little offset spatula to just run it under your cookie and just gently lift it up and it should come up. So over here, I have a baking tray and I've just lined mine with some silicone baking mat. If you don't have one of these, you can just line it with some baking paper. We're gonna pop our cookies on top of this and we're going to pop them back in the fridge for another 30 minutes to set because it's gonna make cutting out the face details a lot easier. I'm gonna show you how to do that when these have been chilling for 30 minutes. Now the way that I'm gonna cut the details, so the faces on these cookies, is using a little Stanley knife, I think they're called. I got this from my local office supply store. And it's as easy as just drawing your little pumpkin faces. So these are Halloween cookies. I'm gonna draw like little cute, evil Halloween pumpkins. But you can find heaps of templates online of like shapes and different facial expressions. Once you finish cutting these out, and these look super cute, we are gonna pop these back in the fridge for another 10 minutes, and then we're gonna bake them for 12 minutes. Once they finish baking, I'm just gonna brush them with a little bit of butter that I melted on my stove, and then we're gonna sprinkle them generously with some cinnamon sugar. Now for the cinnamon sugar, I actually made this myself, just adding some sugar and cinnamon into a bowl and just mixing it up. So sprinkle it over generously, and then once these have cooled down for about 10 minutes, you want to transfer them to a cooling rack to cool down completely to room temperature. My cookies cooled to room temperature, and what I actually did was I paired them up. So they're all pretty much the same size, but I just paired them up because it's going to make the next step easier. And we're going to be sandwiching these together with some milk chocolate. So for the milk chocolate, I actually melted it in the microwave until it was nice and smooth. And we're just gonna grab like about half a teaspoon of chocolate. We're gonna add it to the half that doesn't have the face. And then we are going to sandwich the face on top and sandwich it with the other cookie. As you press it down, you'll see that that chocolate will fill in the gap of the face, which is really, really cool. That's how easy it is to make these cookies. I'm gonna finish the rest of these off and then we're gonna do a taste test. These are way too adorable. I think these are like the perfect little cookie gift for this time of the year. You can make these and gift them up and give them away. They're like an awesome kids holiday activity as well. God knows we're at home a lot these days. I'm gonna bite into this. It looks amazing. I love chocolate. I love shortbread cookies. These look amazing. These are so good, and they're literally like the easiest thing to make. You guys need to go to the link in the description box below, find the recipe there, make these, share them on social media, and I'm actually gonna finish the rest of my one cookie off because I've had way too many sweets today. But before I do go, I have a Halloween recipe playlist that you guys can watch, but over there I have my pumpkin patch Halloween truffles, which are like the cutest thing ever and also a great gift idea for Halloween. Go check that video out because it's so much fun to make. And then above that, I have a subscribe button. Click on that to subscribe. I can't even talk because these are so delicious. Anyway, I'm gonna finish the rest of this cookie off. I'm gonna see you guys on the next episode of the Scran Line. Bye.